Welcome to Chef Marcus Cooks. I'm Chef Marcus, a 12-year-old home cook, and today I'll be making Gnocchi Cacio Pepe with Vincenzo's plate. Go check out his channel. Go like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want. He makes awesome, authentic Italian dishes. And without further ado, let's start cooking. Okay, now let's get on to the ingredients. We have 2 cups of ricotta cheese, 7 ounces of pecorino romano, 1 egg, and 00 flour. But since we could not find 00 flour, we had to use bread flour. Bread flour and 00 flour are very similar, but 00 flour is more finely milled than bread flour, but they are very close. And also bread flour also has more gluten and more protein, so it will absorb water very fast. And we almost just forgot the pepper. Which we cannot have Gnocchi Cacio Pepe without the pepper, because that would not be good. So now we're gonna get on to mixing the ingredients and also showing what everything else you're gonna need. You are going to need to have a tray lined with parchment, and then you're gonna take a fork to break up the ricotta, because it is much easier to break up the ricotta with a fork than it is anything else. And the ricotta is definitely more full of moisture, so that's going to help with the bread flour that we have. And then we are going to add half of our pecorino to it. That's going to help with the flavor of it. And then we're going to mix it. We got to make sure we get that mixed in so it's all nice and good. It's going to also, with the dryness of the pecorino, it's going to start breaking up all the big clumps of ricotta. And then we are going to add half the flour, which, be careful with this is a lot of flour. And then we mix it up again. Make sure we keep mixing until it's nice and incorporated. And as you can see, it's already getting all nice and clumpy, but still it's breaking apart, but it's still being clumpy due to the moisture of the ricotta. Now we are going to add the 1 egg and then mix that up. And then we just keep mixing until it is all nice and incorporated. This is what it's supposed to look like. At this point, it's getting nice and mixed together. And once you got into this point, add the rest of your flour, and then you gotta clean off your fork and just start kneading the dough. It's gonna stick to your hands, because if your hands are not floured, which I forgot to, but that is okay since it is all part of the process. Continue to mix and just keep it going. Keep going and make sure it's nice and mixed together. Keep mixing, just keep going until all the flour and stuff is all mixed together and it's starting to really form a nice dough. And it might start breaking apart. That is good, because that means you can mix in more of your flour into it deeper. And then you just keep pushing and getting it all mixed up. And now you just gotta try to form it into like a ball so it's ready for when you start kneading it out onto your board. So now we're getting to the point where we gotta knead the dough and get it ready for cooking. So we're gonna take some more of the flour. We're gonna sprinkle it onto our workbench, and then we're gonna sprinkle it all about and make sure our workbench is nice and ready. And then we're gonna grab our big thing of dough, get unstuck from the bottom of the bowl, and we're gonna place it down and push forward and then pull back. Push forward and pull back. You don't want to do this too much, or else the flour will overwork and it will not be the best. Push forward and pull back. And occasionally fold in, but then just keep going. Push forward, fold back. Push forward, pull back. Push forward, pull back. Push forward, pull back. And then fold it in if you need at points. Push forward, pull back. And then you grab your bowl. Once it's at a good point, you're going to place your bowl on top and let it rest for 10 minutes. Okay, so next thing we gotta do is we gotta remove the lid and then grab a rolling pin to roll this out. We gotta get this to around around half an inch. Doesn't need to be exact, but you gotta get it to around half an inch. Nice, moved around, get it unstuck from your surface. If it got stuck, just move it, make sure it's in a good location. And then just continue to roll it out. Keep rolling, and just keep rolling. Try to get it to around half an inch. Go back and get it just a little bit more rolled, looking like it's almost there and ready to get cut into strips. So now we're going to start cutting our dough into strips. But before we start cutting, we gotta know the best way to hold a knife so we're safe. The best way to hold a knife is not this, but it is this, where you have two fingers one finger right here, which preferably is your thumb, and then your index finger wrapping around to give you the best support that you possibly can to be safe. So we gotta cut them into around 1-inch strips, so like this, and we just gotta keep cutting them into these around 1-inch strips. They don't need to be exactly 1 inch. You don't need to bust out a ruler if you want to do this. You just gotta wing it and hopefully get around 1 inch. Like, none of these are gonna be perfect. And once we are done cutting these into our strips, we make sure, and then we'll roll them out into snakes. So now we're gonna roll them into snakes. What you first need to do is once you start rolling them, you don't need to push them down like that too hard. Because if you push them down too hard, they'll get flat and it will not be as good. So we just gotta get them nice and lightly until they're nice and cylindrical. So once you got yours to being cylindrical and good to go, you're gonna take your knife and you're going to chop them into little pillows. And then you just continue that for the whole strip. And then you just repeat this process for the rest of your strips. And when you're done cutting up your strip, they should start to look like these, and these are your gnocchi. And then when you're done, you can throw them back onto your thing of parchment paper, or you can throw them into a separate bowl. And once you're done with your strip, they should look like this. Okay, so now we're gonna get to cooking the gnocchi. We have all of our gnocchi in this bowl to make it easier for you to pour your gnocchi into the pasta, into the water. But first, before you do that, we need to crack some pepper into our pan to get it nice and toasted. You can add as much pepper as you want and as little as you want. And even if you wanted to, you don't have to, but you can add it to your pecorino to give it some extra pepper flavor. Like, crack some in, and then we're going to add in our little gnocchi pillows. So we just pour some in, we not all. No. Okay. So one thing you need to know is that when your gnocchi is done boiling, when it starts rising to the top. So what we got to start by doing is by grabbing a mug of water. You got to grab a mug and you add some you dunk it in and try not to take a gnocchi with it. And then you pour about 3 tablespoons into your thing of pecorino, and you want to try to get it to the consistency of mashed potatoes. That was clearly not enough. You gotta add some more. And you just want to try to get this to the consistency of mashed potatoes. So once you add it in, it will melt nicely and it will get all nice and good. Add a little bit more water. And then you're going to mix it up some more. And then once it gets around this point, you're going to be pretty much good. It's sort of going to look like the ricotta at the beginning, just with a little bit more, with some black bits in it. And it's going to be, at this point, it should be around good. Okay, so at this point, now we got to take some more of our pasta water and add it into our pepper, and then nice and like that. And then we got to start slowly adding in our gnocchi, not too much at a time, but just get that added into there. And we got to keep that moving around to make it sure it does not break apart and not go the best. And we got to wait until all of our water is evaporated and good. So now we're going to take this off the stove now that most of the water is evaporated. We're going to keep this going so it does not stick, and we're going to add our cream. So right now we are adding in all that delicious pepper cream. Make sure that is all in. This is going to be where we get that extra cheese flavor. And now that is in, you just got to mix that around and get that nice melted and incorporated. Like, look at that. That is melting nice and good. And it's nice, creamy, and tasty. It just smells so good. Smell the pepper. All that pepper mixed in with it, just giving it such a good flavor, such a nice look. Really mix that in. So just as we get to this point, it's looking nice and mixed in. So now we are going to plate it. Grab a nice spoonful, add that in. And just separate that. Push this back. And now, without further ado, Pepe Gnocchi Cacio Pepe. Blow on this because it's probably still piping hot. It is so good. You can taste the pepper and all that creamy cheese and all of that. You should definitely try this. Thank you for watching my first ever cooking challenge video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to Vincenzo's Plate for the inspiration behind this video. And go check him out and go see you next time on Chef Marcus Cooks.